Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart. Today, I'll be breaking down this showdown slate here between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. We got game two of the Eastern Conference Finals. Should be a great game to watch. Can't wait to watch Jimmy Butler go absolutely crazy again. The dude's been unbelievable. But yeah, going to be breaking down this showdown slate, talking through my favorite captain plays, my favorite utility plays, all the good stuff in this video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Check out my PrizePicks video after this, and let's get into this breakdown. Before I get into the breakdown, just want to say follow me on Twitter at HeartDFS. And then before we get into the breakdown, just want to recap my lineup from yesterday. So the core plays for me from yesterday were Jamal Murray at captain, Anthony Davis, and then Rui Hachimura. And that was the core plays, and they all did pretty solid. Obviously Jamal Murray was the optimal captain once again. So I've been on fire with like getting the captain right. And the past 2 days, the previous 2 days before this slate last night, I had like 5 out of the 6 people you needed in the winning lineup. I was just missing that one person. Today it was a little bit worse there. With I went to Lonnie Walker and Jeff Green. The frustrating thing is, I did take out Anthony Davis for a hot second and put in LeBron, but I didn't look to see what it would allow me to do if I paid for a guy who's minimum price. So I always talk about like the minimum price strategy, and that's what's won the past 2 days in a row. So I'll go to the winning lineup: Jamal Murray, captain, Jokic, LeBron, and then it was spending up for Reeves. Obviously, Hachimura was a core play; everyone played him, so it was just spending down for a guy who's minimum price, and it allowed you to pay up for Austin Reeves. And that was kind of the mistake I made. Is I took out Anthony Davis, put in LeBron, so obviously had that salary relief there. You would have the salary relief if you took Lonnie Walker out, just put it on a minimum price guy, and then you use that salary relief of both of them to pay up for Austin Reeves. That was optimal. I did half of it. I took out LeBron, and then I just didn't look to see like what I'd be able to pay for. I don't know why. I think it was a few minutes before the slates, and I just didn't look into it fully. But yeah, 2 days in a row, it's won. Obviously, doesn't mean it's going to win tonight, but there could be a chance. Once again, we have two teams that the Heat more so than the Celtics are pretty based upon like one or two guys. But the Celtics, you can definitely get away with playing any one of their starting five plus Brogdon and maybe even White. And so it's like the Celtics, they do make it hard on a slate like this where only a minimum price guy will pay off. But yeah, looking back at the rotations for this game here, we can see Kevin Love did good. Only played 16 minutes. Jimmy played 43. Bam 37. Gabe 36. Strus 34. Then off the bench, we only saw 7 minutes of Duncan. Caleb 30. Zeller, his classic, like 8 to 9 minutes, and then Kyle Lowry 28. For the Celtics side, pretty much ran 8-man rotation. So 41 for Tatum, 32 for Horford, 26 for Rob, 34 for Marcus, 39 for Jaylen Brown, 37 for Brogdon, Derek White 21, and then Pritchard surprisingly played 12 minutes. I think that obviously for the Heat, rotations will probably stay the same. For the Celtics, I do think instead of Pritchard, they probably will start bringing in a guy like Grant Williams. Maybe they dust off a little bit of Hauser, Muscala, something like that, maybe to get some three-point shooting going. But yeah, don't know if we can expect Peyton Pritchard once again for tonight's slate. But for this Miami side here, we'll go to the utility spot. And we'll start off, I guess, 1 second. Sorry. Just wanted to see again the captains and their price tags. Jimmy, $600 more than Tatum. Brown, 15.3. Bam there. So, okay. With that in mind, Jimmy at 12.4. Obviously, he's not Jokic, but in the sense of he's kind of like a Jokic play where it's like he's pretty safe to land on in your captain spot, just because the minutes will be there. He's going to be super aggressive. He does every single thing for this team, and he has massive, massive upside with the steals. Coming off a six steal game, he's averaging almost 2 per game. So that's huge, huge there in the captain spot, because obviously the captain spot is 1.5 times the actual fantasy points you're getting. So Jimmy, a safe play in the captain spot. Obviously, he does have I guess a low floor as a guy, as a captain, at a 12.4K price tag. He can definitely go out there and only get like 40, 45, but he's been unbelievable. But right now, I don't think he's my favorite captain play. I think maybe he'd be more of a utility play, but I do think you can get away with fading Jimmy if he has like just an average game, and you can definitely load up on guys like either a Bam, or you can go double with like Kyle Lowry and Gabe Vincent, or like Kyle Lowry and Caleb Martin, and you'll hope they have solid games, and it'll definitely help you out rather than paying up 12.4K for a guy like Jimmy, if that makes sense. But I think he's a great captain play. Obviously, a safe play there. and I think he's a solid utility play. Bam Adebayo, I just don't know what to do with Bam. It's one of those things where it's like he stayed out of foul trouble, but he only played 37 minutes. It's a super close game. In a close, maybe he sees 39. A few extra minutes. Went for 38. It's just like he's just super non-aggressive at times and just kind of falls out of the offense. They don't really look to him at times. It happens for like a quarter, sometimes 2 quarters in a row where it's like he doesn't do anything. And so you really, really need him to come out there and be super aggressive and go for a double double. If that happens, he can go for 45, 50 plus. And he has that opportunity. They're leaving him open at the top of the key, so it's like he does have that opportunity to go for like one of these games here, 56.5 fantasy points. He went for 20, 10, and 10. So it's like the upside is there. It's just he's super uninvolved at times. So it's like for me, who plays a single entry, I'd rather go to a guy who we know is going to be aggressive. So for Bam, he's just more of a utility play. Captain play, sure. You can definitely go there with him, but I think I feel safer with the utility play with Bam. Kyle Lowry, I think he's a solid mid-range guy. He's kind of maxed out at about 30 minutes, but he's been super productive the past like 7 to 8 games in a row now. So I think he's a solid mid-range play. Like he should be super aggressive. He's been shooting the ball very, very well. So I do like him. Strus has actually been solid as well, but he's kind of score independent. So that's kind of the downside there. If he's hitting shots, he will play the minutes, but all he does is really shoot now. You know, previous like last season, kind of the beginning of the season, he's one of those guys that's like he can go out there, he'd be able to get a couple rebounds, couple assists, maybe a steal or a block, and he'd be able to get you like 30 fantasy points. Now he's just kind of struggling to do that. It's more so him just shooting. So for that reason, he's more of a fade for me. But I think he would be an interesting pivot play in the mid range, just because I don't think a lot of people are going to land on him. He'll probably come in at a pretty cheap price tag because people are going to rather pay up for Kyle Lowry or they're going to pay down for Gabe Vincent. But this is what I talked about with Gabe Vincent. Like if he hits the shots and he stays out of foul trouble, he should see mid 30s minutes, and he did. He only shot 4-6, but obviously a great percentage there. 15 points. He got to the free throw line. Solid free throw shooter, and he played 36 minutes, and he had a solid game. 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, a steal, 26 fantasy points. So I think once again he's a very solid play there. 5,400. He'll be a lot more popular today, but obviously a very solid play at the lower mid range. Caleb Martin, same thing. I talked about how they're going to need him. He played 30 minutes, the most he's played since the game 2 there versus the Knicks when Jimmy did not play. So Caleb Martin, I think we can expect another close to 30 minutes for him. He shot the ball very well. Obviously, I don't think you can expect 11 shots, but they're going to need his shooting, especially when Jimmy posts up and he's throw it out to people. So I think once again, Caleb Martin's a very strong play here at 5,000. He's a guy who can do a little bit of everything, stuff the stat sheet. As you can see, he had a very solid game there, 32 fantasy points. So once again, I do really like him. I do really like Gabe Vincent. Kevin Love, I think he's one of those guys. It's like you can definitely take a shot on him. He's definitely worth the risk if you're playing a ton of lineups. But if you're just playing one, I don't think there's a need to get to Kevin Love 4,400. It's just like he really hasn't flashed a huge game that's made it worth it since that Milwaukee game where he played 32 minutes. But otherwise, I think that was with. Yeah, otherwise it's just like, you don't feel great. The minutes just have not been there, even when he's been playing well. He's only in like 2 shifts, so I think he's more of a stay away from me. Duncan Robinson only played 7 minutes, so unless you think Strus gets in foul trouble or it can't hit a shot, they could look to Duncan. Sure, he could definitely have a decent game there if he's hitting a bunch of threes, but I don't think there's a need to get to him. And it's on the Miami side. Cody Zeller is the flat minimum price tag, so it's one of those things where it's like, you can throw him in there. He's one of those guys, flat minimum price. If you want to go that strategy, you can throw him in, and he's a guy who could get you a few points. So obviously he has more upside than any of the other flat minimum price tag guys, unless there's like a big injury and they had to go to the bench. But yeah, he's definitely down there. And then moving on to the Boston side here. Tatum, favorite captain play of the day is probably going to be Tatum. I do like the price difference between Brown and Tatum. It does, make Brown very appealing. But I think if you watch that last game, everyone kind of saw how Tatum really fell off in that second half. I think he had only 4 shots. I know it was at least 5 or less, so I was thinking it might be only 4 shots. Super non-aggressive. In that fourth quarter, had like 3 straight turnovers to try to get to the lead and try to win that game, and he failed. So I'm expecting Tatum to come out super strong. The whole game, be super aggressive, and it's one of those things. It's like He kind of had like a letdown quiet game, and he still played 41 minutes, shot the ball great, 9 to 17. Usually shoots like 10 threes, did only shot three. Got to the free throw line, which is great to see. But yeah, 37, 1 and 1. Just overall, just kind of a quiet game there. Dealt with a little bit of foul trouble, but yeah, it's just one of those things not to love Tatum, just with his massive upside there at the captain spot. So right now, loving him. I think Brown is a solid pivot play, especially if Evan's going to flock to Tatum. It's just one of those things with Brown. He kind of has like that Bam Adebayo role, Bam Adebayo row, where at times he just kind of disappears. Like he just doesn't do anything for like a whole entire quarter, and it really screws your upside there. So, he went for 38. It was solid in the captain spot. We know he has 45, 50 plus upside that he can easily get to. It's just, can he consistently stay aggressive, especially now that, people are expecting Tatum to be super aggressive this game, um, which could open up the door for Brown to be aggressive. If Tatum's cooking, they're going to have to stop him. They're going to have to look to Brown. But yeah, Jaylen Brown has just been non aggressive at times. So it's kind of hard to love him in the captain spot like I did that first game where I thought he was going to be aggressive. He was. He shot 21 times, but you know, just not what I'm looking for today. But I think it's a solid play all around. Either if play him in the captain or if you play him in the utility, I think Jaylen Brown's a solid play. Al Horford, I think it's a solid play. Still had 23 and a half fantasy points and shot 3 of 8. He's just struggling to shoot the three. Like he's consistently going to shoot it most of the time, but he just can't hit a three right now. I think he has solid upside. Don't love the price tag, but I think he's decent. Smart. Only shot 7 times, but he went for a double double, 38 fantasy points. I think it's just a very, very safe play. He should play the minutes around mid 30s minutes, and there'll be games where he's aggressive, and there'll be games where he's not aggressive, but he's going to be playmaking. So I think Smart's a very, very, very solid play there. Same with Brogdon. He's questionable, but he should be good to go. The big news with here is that he played 37 minutes, so that's massive. Before then, he's only floating around close to like mid high 20s. Sometimes he cracks 30 minutes, but yeah, seeing 37 minutes from him. I don't know if we expect the same. I think we would. So I do really like Brogdon there. I'm assuming he'll be super, super popular, but it's hard not to love Brogdon seeing high 30s minutes. Derek White, as I've said, he'll be like an interesting pivot play off the chalky Smart and Brogdon. Played 21 minutes, actually played decent, 3 of 5 from three, 18 and a half fantasy points. So if you're looking for a pivot play, he's one of your guys. Once again, I do really like Robert Williams. Came out, had a very solid game, 24 fantasy points. Didn't get any, or only got 1 block. Usually, he's a guy who can go for multiple blocks a game. Usually has that double double upside, but 26 minutes. I think we expect at least around 25 minutes for Robert Williams. If he got into the 30s, that'd be fantastic. But I think he's a solid play there. 4,600 has double double upside. Went for 14.7. Has the block upside. So yeah, I think he's a solid play there. 4,600. And then if you wanted to get like super, super risky, sure, you could take a shot on the guy like Grant Williams. Maybe he cracks the rotation over a guy like Peyton Pritchard. But I think right now, yeah, especially if you're only playing like a few entries, maybe even a one entry, you don't go that route. So those are my thoughts for the slate tonight. Loving Tatum, loving Martin, loving Vincent, and I do really like Brogdon there at that price tag. Obviously, it's kind of a chalky build right now. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to go this route. So if you want to get different, maybe you go with the 1K strategy, which has been more popular recently, especially the past 2 nights because it's one. But yeah, that'd be how you get different. Or you can get different by just going like a little bit, I guess, of like a mid range, going down like Robert Williams and Jaylen Brown, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, these are kind of the core plays would be Tatum and Captain, Martin and Vincent and utility. And I guess if you want to throw in Brogdon in there, you can. I'm still deciding based on ownership if I'm going to go to Brogdon, but we'll see. So yeah, that's the slate breakdown for today. Hope you guys like it. Hit the like button. Check out my other videos. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.